Hello and welcome to Good Game, the show for gamers, by gamers. I'm Junglist.
And I'm Kapowski. Firstly, a huge big thank you for visiting the Good Game forums and leaving us a message or review.
Today on the show, we get our hands on the Nintendo Wii!
The whole area in front of the TV becomes a 3D play area.
And we take a masterclass in Quake 4.
We talk to the developer of the biggest selling Australian game of all time.
And we explore the wonderful world of Machinima.
But first, let's kick things off with gamer news.
Good game!
Global Games Network GameSpot have had so many hits from Australian gamers that they have decided to set up locally. And it's rumoured that Imagine Games Network or IGN are planning to do the same. This means all the community-driven content such as polls will relate directly to Australian gamers.
Wild scenes of jubilation were experienced in Melbourne at the launch of the new TV program Good Game last week. Ravenous gamers, gnashing and gnarling to get in the front door, displayed their annoyance at being previously ignored by the mainstream media, despite the fact that the video game industry has brought in more revenue than the movie industry for quite some time now. Our on-the-scene reporter Kapowski was able to bring us this footage. Fashizzle, how are things going down there?
Hi, we're here at the pre-launch of Good Game. It's about 8 degrees here in Melbourne. Things are really starting to heat up here. The crowd's going wild. Yay! Yes, thank you, Junkie. Back to you.
Authorities have stated there were 0 casualties, 0 injured, but one guy really had to go to the toilet.
Yes! Yay! And there's been quite some movement on the console front. Nintendo have announced the Wii will be available here in Australia on December the 7th. And Sony have been forced to delay the launch of the PlayStation 3 due to hardware manufacturing issues. Sony's faulty Blu-ray means the launch in Europe might be as late as March 2007.
Good game!
Hey, guess what, man?
What's up, man? You getting owned?
No. We got an invite.
To what?
We got an invite to the Wii.
Are you saying we are gonna go see the Wii?
Wii.
Wii! Let's chat.
Yeah, let's go. Man, I can't believe I get to play with my own Wii.
Yeah, and then we'll play with the new Nintendo. Ah, psych! Well, we just got to play with the E3 version of the Wii. What did you think?
All round it was an awesome system. There were a few things that bugged me a little bit about it, but it's still a pretty cool system. Let's jump back to Nintendo HQ and see what they had to say.
This is the Wii remote. Basically, any sort of movement, any sort of tilt, any sort of rotation is directly translated onto screen. It's also got accelerometers in it, what we call accelerometers. So any sort of acceleration or gesture also gets translated on screen. So basically, the whole area in front of the TV becomes a 3D play area. So if you've got a sword, you're actually just slashing, or you can point and shoot a gun, or you can just drive like that.
This is the golf game, and there's heaps of potential with this one, you can see. The key is to do a normal shot, just like in real golf. I was always more of a tennis fan.
The Wii will input normal size CDs. It won't have DVD playback.
So as usual, Nintendo is choosing to concentrate on gameplay.
Which isn't a bad thing. The Wii will boast several channels to choose from as well, from the actual console. You'll be able to view weather, you'll also be able to view the news.
But more importantly, there's going to be a channel where you can download some retro games. You will have to buy them though.
Internet browsing will be also available, but you have to pay a once-off fee for the Opera browser.
Now, Wii Online has no subscription fees, but you will have to connect it to the net to get all these features. And at the moment, it's looking like the only way you can connect it is Wi-Fi. Nintendo haven't exactly announced any Ethernet capabilities, so you might have to buy one of those USB Wi-Fi adapters.
Oh, I went out.
Notice if I hit it harder, the ball goes harder as well.
And I win. There's also the Me channel, which means you can customize your little characters in games and download them to your controller, which is a pretty okay thing because you can take your little character to your mate's place.
Which brings us to the remote. Once an infrared monitor is attached to the front of your TV screen, the whole 3D space in your living room becomes the play area. Any tilt, twist, swoosh, zoom, even acceleration is monitored by the remote. It's right here is where it's at. Now, I couldn't help but notice a wee bit of lag on the infrared there, wouldn't you say?
That's right, Junkie.
It's just a small delay between the real-life swing and the swing on screen, but a lag issue like that might cause problems with competitive multiplayer. Now, this was the E3 demo version of the Wii, and Nintendo have assured us that there will be no lag in the final version. My only other beef was with the controller. I think the extra controllers might cost around $80. Now, a lot of the technology is actually inside the controller, the infrared, speakers, vibrations, and memory. But $80.
I mean, tell me about it. So what's the verdict on the controller there, Junkie?
Well, of all the next-gen consoles I've seen, this is the only one that I would actually call next-gen. It's not just a hardware upgrade, it's a new way to play games. So it is the only thing I would call next-gen.
And what's it going to make you do?
It's gonna make me move a lot.
Nintendo chose not to comment on their hardware, though there have been a few leaks on the net that comment that the Nintendo Wii is very close to a GameCube 1.5 as far as the hardware goes.
Ah, but can a GameCube do this? 2 players gonna get hectic.
Or can it do this? This is a new WarioWare game. It's going to give us an example of what this controller can actually do. So how do you think the Wii will do now, Junkie?
Well, the Wii's set to come out on December 7th, so the 360 has a pretty big head start on it.
And who knows what's happening with the PlayStation 3?
That's right. It is set to have backwards compatibility with GameCube games, and it's being bundled with Wii Sports.
But let's face it, Wii Sports is no Zelda.
You got me there, so let's leave the rubber chickens out of it for now, because this is more of a preview than a review. I think it's safe to say the Wii is looking pretty sweet.
Oh, for shizzle, Junkie Izzle.
Good game! What's that you got there, man?
You're a noob, Junkie! If you put a rubber band and a few coins on the green button, it's easier to play the game on Expert!
Hacks.
And now it's time for
Wait. What was that clip we just showed?
Machinima.
What is Machinima?
Machinima.
Machinima. Machinima? Machinima. Machinima.
That's the one. Let's do the dance now.
I'm not doing no dance, man. I'm gonna go find out what this stuff is. I'll be in the Leapmobile.
Leapmobile! Leapmobile!
I'm here with Dan and Cleon from the Australian Film and Television Radio School. Guys, what is machinima?
The term derives from a combination of machine and cinema, and it basically describes a genre and a set of production techniques where game players use the tools, characters, environments, so forth in a game world to create a film.
Action.
Can you tell us a bit about the current project that you're working on?
It's called If You Build It, They Will Come. It's a machinima built within Second Life. I just wanted to make a story about a character in that world who has all this material, virtually material satisfaction, but then goes out to seek something more than that. He finds it in the form of creating music with a group of people in this virtual space, which is something that's free and available to anyone and doesn't have any price tag attached to it.
Mine Idol 2006 is here.
With
I like it, but it isn't exactly mine to material.
I think you're wrong. I think it was great.
So what tools do you need to actually start making it?
You would need, first of all, a game such as a first-person shooter like Halo or something like that, a device to play it on, some means of capturing the footage, plug your Xbox or whatever console you have through a video recorder or a DV camera and output that way. We're doing this on computer, so we actually are using a piece of software called Fraps to capture that. You want to get a number of people together, all playing characters, being camera people within that world, and ideally a really good story that you want to tell within that mode.
And if you can, get a couple of friends together, you can pretty much string together a loose storyline where you've got characters on screen and they can animate depending on how you use your controller. And you can, lay a voice over the top of that, and then you've got your story.
Got this in red? How much?
No, seriously, it's on the house.
I pay my way. How much?
It's free. Everything here is free.
What?
50.
What?
50.
I'll take it.
For those people out there that would like to have a go at Machinima, what advice would you give them?
Start with what you're good at.
Yeah, start with what you know in the game world that you're familiar with. And if you're a hardcore gamer into a particular world, you're not going to know that intimately, so use that to start with.
You could look at the tools that you've got available, you can look at your favourite game and think, it would be really fun to make something for fans of the game, using the characters and the environments that they're used to seeing, and maybe make it funny. Or you can start with a really good story that you'd love to turn into a short film, but you don't have a budget and you don't have actors and you don't have cameramen and lighting. And then you can go into this game world where they've done half the work for you. They've given you the tools that you need to use, and, well, if you're lucky, they're free. Within this world that we're looking at the moment, you get some really, really easy to use tools for building stuff. And, if you've got a basic idea of 3D space, moving things up, down, left, right, in and out, and you can use a mouse, then, yeah, you can build pretty much anything you can imagine. The other cool thing is that you're not limited by physical reality. So, you can set your story up, in the clouds, with a giant marshmallow talking to a dragon. And there's a story right there.
The sky is the limit?
Yeah.
And the giant marshmallow.
And the
dragon.
Marshmallow is also
the limit. Yeah. Possibly.
Aha. We need more pecs. We're going for accuracy. We need more pecs. That's the Junglist right there. How's that for accuracy, huh?
Dan, Cleon, thanks very much for letting us visit today, and good luck with your project. I'd love to visit you in a couple of weeks and see how you're going.
No worries, Junglist. We'll keep you posted.
Catch you later.
Hey, we're getting heaps of posts on the forums, dude.
Oh yeah, what's being said?
Well, they love me. They also like you. Oh, and
All right. Here's what we'll do. We'll put a poll up on our forums. Should Peanut stay or should he go? So get on the forums and vote. You decide.
what kind of poll? That sounds like it could hurt someone.
No, like a voting poll.
Oh, right.
People often overlook the case when buying a new computer, but it's actually one of the most important things to consider, as a poor case can mean overheating, as well as being very hard to live with in everyday life. A good case should have plenty of fan holes, lots of hard drive bays, frontal USB ports, easy open side panel, and of course good looks. Now, a top-of-the-line aluminium case will set you back around $600, but you can get a basic steel one for around $180. One thing to be wary of though is the included power supply with some of these cases. Generally, they won't be powerful enough for your high-end gaming system, so you'll have to look elsewhere for the power supply. Next week we'll look at CPUs, the various types and what suits you.
Good game!
Thank you, the Tasmanian Tiger.
It's Ty.
Ty?
Ty, the Tasmanian tiger. He jumps, he bites, and he throws boomerangs. It's Australian.
Oh, sorry, mate. Fair income. Gee, Shazza.
It's Australia's biggest selling game, no less.
All right. Well, maybe I should go talk to the developer of Thank You.
It's Ty. And I think you should.
Okay, I'm gone.
Say TY from me.
Steve, you're responsible for creating Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, which is the biggest Australian selling game of all time. How did the idea of Ty come to you?
It was a bit of a group effort. We were actually down here one afternoon on a Friday, sitting back having a few drinks, and we were just talking about what sort of games we'd like to make. And one of them was a platforming game, and we were just trying to work out what sort of character you'd actually have as like a lead character. You know, you've had plumbers and you've had hedgehogs, and we wanted to do something that was sort of really Australian. And then kind of unanimously, we all came up with the idea of a Tasmanian tiger.
You beauty!
Did you know that you were onto a winner, or did you have to work on that a little bit?
We all thought it was really cool when we were making it, but we never thought it was going to be as big as it ever was. We'd always joke to ourselves that we're making a game that's going to sell 5 million copies, not because we thought we'd sell 5 million copies, but we wanted to make a game that was really mainstream and accessible, so that people, you know, could play it as opposed to something that was very niche.
What makes a good video game character?
I think you just look for a lot of key elements that you think are cool, because at the end of the day, we don't do things by committee, and we sort of go with our gut instincts. You know, it might work, it might not work. At the end of the day, it's up to the people playing the game to decide if they like it or not us to try and make something that's going to sell to them. We just make things we think are cool.
And what about Shazza?
Shazza, I think, sort of started out as a totally different looking character originally, and she got her name from, well, one of the guy's girlfriends at the time, who's now married to, but her nickname was Shazza, so it's like, that's a perfect name for a character.
So there's a real Shazza?
There is a real Shazza.
Let's go, Possum.
Do you think Australians inject a certain characteristic into their games?
Oh, yeah. One of the good things about being Australian is you've got a lot of influences, that whole cultural melting pot thing. We use a lot of Australiana, not just the flora and fauna and the locations, but a lot of just the cultural Australian things like language.
I have some bad news, my friends.
No worries. I reckon I can take them on.
The Americans all pick up on that and they love that.
How does a video game character differ from a character in a book or a movie?
Actually, not a lot. With what we do flesh the characters out, and there's backstories for everything, and you know, they have motivations, they have story arcs. They have the ability to jump really high and you know, take enemies with boomerangs, but generally they're the same sort of thing. Narrative is narrative, doesn't matter where you do it. So on that side of stuff, it's the same. The difference though is that the player has a different way of interacting with them. It's not just turning the pages or watching a movie, it's they have more control of what the character does.
Let's go see what that bunyip gauntlet of yours can do.
Is it a challenge sometime to fit it all in? Or?
There's only so much you can fit in the game, and people can only work so many hours a week, you know, before they get tired. And so you've got to go, look, we really love this feature or this part of the story, but you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't progress the game along, so we say that gets cut.
Most people would have the attitude that, you know, stories have no real place in games, that you just go around killing stuff. What sort of place do you think a storyline would have in a game?
It really depends on the game. Some games are about just the sheer gameplay. Story in, say, a Tetris-style game would probably be a bad thing. Anything where you have lots of characters, basically, I think that you can really push the story along that way. Whereas a football game doesn't need a story.
How cool is that?
Fits like a glove.
Ty, look out!
Who are you?
And something like Ty is definitely very character-driven.
Yeah, we had something like 200 characters in Ty 2, so we go that pretty strong on the character front. The guys doing the animation stuff here, guys putting the levels together over here. This is QA, or quality assurance, production and programming.
Now, Steve, you've built Chrome Studios into the biggest Australian developer. Do you see a bright future ahead for Aussies in gaming?
Oh, definitely. When we started out, we were really small, and I think there weren't a lot of other developers. It was actually small pockets, but in the last 5-6 years, the industry has just blossomed. I think every year you're gonna find another 1 or 2 more developers popping up, and they're all getting big titles. They're all doing like really, really world-class stuff. I just think it's gonna get better and better for the industry.
Lastly, Steve, are you a gamer yourself?
Yes, I play a lot of games. It's part of my job as a designer to actually check out everything that's out there. Well, that's my excuse anyway, I mean.
Yeah. Guys, the reviews on the forums are going crazy. Good job. This week's t-shirt goes to Elite Post. Good job.
Good game.
Jeez, relax, mate. What's wrong?
Man, Quake 4 is just beyond me. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have to go see Cringe.
Winch?
Cringe, he represents Australia in those Quake 4 tournaments. He's from that team Immunity. He'll sort me out.
Good luck. You're gonna need it.
What can I do to be a pro at Quake 4? Well, for starters, man, have you watched any demos? Demos are Quake 4 replays, just watching the game. So find those demos of the international tournaments or even the local tournaments of the big names playing each other. Watch those guys, man. The only way you're going to get better is if you watch the best and you play the best.
I mean, there's so many weapons in Quake 4. Yeah. I really don't know what to use for what situation. Could you tell me a bit about that?
When you're playing your opponent, you want to try and use the right weapons in the right situations at all times. So you've got to try and feel it out. The main weapons that are used in Quake 4 arena are your lightning gun, which is a hit scan gun, the railgun, another hit scan weapon. Oh yeah. That's very powerful. You can pop some heads with that one. And the rocket launcher. Those are your 3 main weapons. And the rocket launcher is it's not hit scan, it's a projectile weapon. In short range battles, generally my advice is you always try and use your rocket launcher, or if you don't have a rocket launcher primarily, you use your shotgun. When you fire the rocket launcher and the rocket explodes on impact, it does what you call a splash damage. You want to try and aim or anticipate which way they're moving, left to right, backwards or forwards, wherever they're going, and you want to try and splash rockets at their feet.
What other things would you use for medium range?
Medium range, definitely lightning gun. Lightning gun is just a ridiculously crazy, powerful weapon in Quake 4. It's just track and follow. You got to try and strafe, which is moving left and right, the same sort of in the same sort of patterns and rhythm as your opponent, and at the same time you got to hold that LG down.
And you'd say long distance, long range, definitely the railgun?
Definitely the railgun. Sometimes you can finish people off with a machine gun. If you hit a rail, you know they're low health. Just pull out that machine gun.
So what sort of mind games would you play with your opponent in a really tense 1-versus-1 situation?
In Quake 4 duels, you always need to know where your opponent is, where he's going, what weapons he has, what power-ups he has. You need to know all this information to try and anticipate where he's coming, where he's going to hit you, all this information. So one of my big tips is to always play with headphones. You got to practice listening to the sounds and spawn points on the map, and try and from that gather where your opponent is. And you know, when you hear this sound on the right earphone, you know they're coming from the top right side or the bottom right side. There's a lot of mental tactics in Quake 4 involved. And like one of the best players from the predecessor to Quake 4, which was Quake 3, was a Russian player, and he didn't have the best aim at all. He was very poor with his aim, yet he dominated many games just purely for the fact that he was relentless with timing items and power-ups and would not give away 1 inch. Just very, very defensive player, but he was very good and just made that playing style his own. Yeah, man, well, let's see how much you actually got then, eh? Let's have a crack, mate. Let's have a run. Let's see how we go.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it, champ.
Fight. Warning.
Well, 30-3. I'm in a bit of pain right now, but
As you will be.
thanks for the help, man.
And then the camera comes in for my close-up, and you say, Peanuts, you're just a rock saw.
Listen, you damn dirty ape. No one's gonna watch Machinima or anything else with you in it.
Machinima.
No, that's it. No more of that.
And that's enough good game for this week.
Next week, we'll be looking at the new Star Wars Lego game, the original trilogy.
What's that, Chewie? I'll be taking a masterclass in Need for Speed Most Wanted.
And we'll both be getting a lesson in knives, of the real kind, involving vegetables.
And pasta.
And saucepans.
And don't forget to visit us on the Good Game forums. Leave us a message or your own game review.
Until next time.
Kapowski out.
Junglist out.